attendees can join.
It's not actually time yet,
No,
is it?
but we
No,
have a
it's not.
quorum.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Wouldn't want you guys to start discussing anything important and not have it
Oh, okay.
recorded.
Bye.
So it's looking like there's nothing coming in. It's just been so slow lately with applications, but there's nothing coming in for the next meeting, which is the December 5th. So we could cancel that meeting. We already have the Pioneer Fields project is wanting to continue to December 19th. So we have that on the December 19th agenda. So it depends on whether or not anything gets continued tonight, whether we have the December 6th.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
Really weirdly quiet.
What is going on with the Pioneer Field?
They are
Project.
going before their planning board hearing date got delayed for, I can't remember what reason. It might have been that the planning board had too many things on their agenda. And they pushed them off, and they pushed Pioneer Field off until their December 6th meeting.
Hmm.
And so the applicant said, let's just put it on December 19th. And we still don't have any we can talk about this when it comes up on the agenda, but
Yeah.
still don't have any new plans.
Julia, did you make the MRBA meeting?
Yeah, the last one I was there. Trying to remember what. Oh, we talked actually most of the time about Salisbury.
Hmm.
They're doing a lot. They're putting together like a Salisbury Beach management plan that they're getting permitted for a very specific area. They're getting permitted as a notice of intent to do beach nourishment in front of all these private homes. So that all the homeowners got together and put together like a joint notice of intent. So that was what they spent most of the time talking about. And then we talked a little bit about beach grass planting and fencing and stuff with DCR.
Hey, did any of you guys go to the Pink House meeting yesterday?
No.
No.
Did
Did
you?
you?
No, I'm just wondering what happened. I guess we'll know tomorrow's Daily News.
Yeah, that was the other thing that we talked about at MRBA was the Pink House. There were some big, say like emotional arguments being made. So strong arguments. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what happened. I don't know anyone
Yeah.
who went to that.
All right, it's 6:45. Let's get this meeting going. Let's bring this meeting to order. This is the November 21st, 2023 Newburyport Conservation Commission meeting taking place on the Zoom platform. And this meeting is being recorded. The first item on the agenda are the meeting minutes from October 17th, 2023. Anybody have any questions or comments or anything?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right, roll call, Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes,
Carol Wagon,
Staining, I wasn't there.
okay, Dan Warshall,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. All right. Next item, do we have any Plum Island updates?
So, yeah, we were just discussing this briefly. Not many Plum Island updates. There was an MRBA meeting a couple weeks ago. And most of the discussion revolved around a Salisbury Beach management plan and the Pink House discussions. So nothing really new for Newburyport to report
Okay.
for now.
All right, on to certificates of compliance, etc. First item is Joseph Hill, 2 Parker Street, request for extension of order conditions.
So I don't know if y'all remember this project. It's a subdivision off of at the end of Parker Street before you get to the traffic circle down at Route 1 on the right hand side of the road to Parker Street, and you kind of turn up the hill. It's after the graveyard, and there's a multi-unit subdivision up there, a lot of townhomes, and they are almost done. The permit was issued in 2017. It was to expire December 2020. At the time, they weren't done yet, so the commission extended it for them for another 3 years. So it's set to expire this December 2023. And they're almost done. There's one more at the very back. If you were to drive up the driveway there's one more set of townhomes that need to be constructed at the top of the hill. And they also need to finish putting in the rain garden, which they have installed the rain garden and the fence that was associated with it that was required by the commission. But it needs to be monitored, for survival of the plantings, and, the drainage, the final drainage needs to get fixed up and stuff like that. So they want another 2-year extension so that their new order conditions, or this order conditions, would then expire in December 2025.
We have Ryan Clemens. Is he part of
I will allow him to talk. Yeah, hold on a second. Let me throw it fast. Okay, Ryan. Okay, Ryan, when you are ready, you can unmute yourself, and you can address the commission with any other details that you want to provide.
All right, thank you, Julia. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Ryan Clemens of Mead Tellerman Costa, here on behalf of Parker 2 Realty Trust. And I mean, Julia gave a great summary, so here if you have any further questions.
okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I don't object to the extension, but was it going to be another 2 years before they do the rail trail work that needs to be done? Because it's finished on both sides. And so people have to walk in the street, and somebody's going to get hurt. And waiting another 2 years, it's already been 6. It seems like they could do that work.
Yeah, so that work is definitely set to be completed within those 2 years in the coming spring and summer 2024 to finish up that connection. So it won't be at the end of 2 years. It'll be coming up soon after, all the snow and ice is through thawing.
Okay, so they will do it in the next construction season.
Yes.
Okay.
Why such a long extension then?
It's for the rail trail, the 2 rain gardens, which they're constructed, but they're not complete yet, and they need to tie into the drainage system too. And then it's also those last units, that last building that Julia mentioned, with units 13, 14, 15, which are framed and have got their insulation initial siding in, but nothing final on the outside yet. So they need to finish up that, and then other finishing touches on the landscaping too. And in matching with, as we said, as I said before, the matching up with the construction seasons.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think that it's sort of, it's not that it is gonna take all of the 2 years, it's just that it will probably take more than 1 year.
And this, what you had said about the construction of the rail trail happening in the next construction season in the spring, is that written someplace, or is that understood? This has been dragging on so long. It'd be nice to know that that's going to happen and not in another year after.
I don't believe the deadline set other than at the when the order of conditions extinguishes. And I don't believe it's set on the stages of plans either, no.
But are you suggesting that the owner has said that that's what's going to happen? Because that's what you said.
Yes, no, that's what the trust has told me.
Yeah, I think David and Stephen, everybody at City Hall also wants, in the planning office and their other permits associated with this project, wants the rail trail to be finished ASAP also for all of those reasons. So
yeah, and the trust understands that too.
Okay, but this extension goes till December of 2025. So, you know, if they don't do it next construction season, then they'll have to wait. I'd like to, is there anything we can do to put it in writing or somehow say you will do it in the next construction season? Just because they say they're going to do it.
Yeah, the problem is that an extension, you can't really change the special conditions. But what you can do is to say that you won't give another extension. I mean, there's no promises that you need to make in terms of them going past 2025. It's not done, but.
Yeah, the conditions are set. We
Yeah.
agreed on the conditions, so I guess our choice is to give them an extension or not give them an extension. But
Well,
I would think we would. And then the planning office can harass them to get it done.
okay.
And
Well,
again,
I
they
guess,
are, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that, yes, they are committed to getting it done in the next cycle, and especially because it is that last connection remaining. So they do feel the pressure, and I'm sure the planning office will be on them about it as well.
Because they will need occupancy permits for these units. So it's not like there can be things that get undone. Like that.
okay, well, maybe we should make it clear that there won't be another extension.
At least for that part.
Yeah. Okay.
I can make a note about that in the extension, the letter. If that's what you all want. to vote
Yeah,
on.
that would be a good thing. I'd like to see that. So we'll need a motion.
Motion to approve the extension request.
But do we have to, sorry, do we have to add something though about this being the final extension as a part of the motion?
I would just caution, I would just say if it's the rail trail piece that you're most concerned about, you could vote to issue the extension with a note to the applicant that, advising them that you will not, you do not intend to issue an additional extension in the future for the rail trail component of the project. But I would be careful about making that a blanket, because you just never know what can happen between now and then with any of the other elements of the project. You don't want them to be stuck in a situation where something out of everyone's control causes a delay, kind of thing.
Okay, so I'll amend my motion to say that we will not issue another extension for the rail trail work.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I think somebody already seconded it.
Well, he just made a.
Oh, but then just change it. I'll second it.
Yeah, I'll second that again.
Okay,
Anyway, it doesn't-
all right then. Roll call, Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes,
Carol Wagon,
Yes,
Dan Warshall,
Yes,
and I'll vote yes. All right. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Have a great rest of the night.
You too.
thank you.
All right, next item is Luke Shipman, 217 Northern Boulevard, request for determination.
Okay, I'm gonna move over Tom Hughes, panelist for this. And let's see here. Gotta pull this up without messing up. There we go. All right.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Tom Hughes with Hughes Environmental Consulting, here on behalf of Luke Shipman. Julia, I think what's probably simplest is rather than starting with the site plan, can we go to the architectural
Sure.
profiles?
Yep.
Yep. So if you look at the top, that's existing, you look at the bottom, that's proposed. And if we go to the second sheet,
Second sheet.
yeah, so if you take a look on, probably the most informative is if you look at the right-hand drawing, you see that there's a single story level. And then you take a look at the bottom, the chimney goes away and this little off-centered addition goes on top of that. So that's what the project is all about, is, you know, some general renovations, but the big add-on is that second floor area. There's no impact on the ground other than just temporary construction. So now if we can go to the site photos and then we'll go to the site plan. So if you take a look at the site, you know, it's a fairly well-worn site. That addition is that area off to the left. So that area will then become like a two-story and shifted slightly towards this sort of at-grade patio area. If we can go to the next. And just kind of flip through them. Okay, so there, if you see the tree there, we don't anticipate the tree being in the way. Eileen Graff is pretty certain this can go forward and that tree can remain just as is. We can go to the next. So you can see again, this is the dune is sort of already heavily altered on this site. And then I guess the final will be the one on the bottom, which is just kind of a broad view of it. Or actually the one above that, I think is that one. Yeah. So that's a view. You can see the area where the work would happen is on the right. The dune is either lawn or pavement or otherwise altered on this site. There's really no areas of you know, fully functioning dune. There's certainly plenty of dune that functions, but not, you know, not what you typically think of when you think of sand dune. And if we can go to the site plan. So you can see we have a fairly tight limit of work, that kind of gold dashed line on here. And then we have notes about, you know, the contractor parking, material storage in the existing driveway. We have a dumpster location outlined. So this is really a pretty minimal project. And in the bottom left-hand corner of the structure, there's a small wood landing to be removed and a granite step to be removed, and that area gets planted with native vegetation. Even though the addition itself is going over an area of wood deck, so it's not really impacting any vegetation. We just provide that as mitigation for the temporary impacts. And then if you can see, there's a note that any portion of the vegetated area that's in the work limit is restored to existing condition after project completion.
So is that existing condition beach grass or lawn grass or what is it?
Probably best go to the view from the west, I think I gave you. To the right of that
In the
one.
photos.
No, so the tab to the right. I think that's probably. Oh no, go the other way and
Oh,
tab
this.
right there.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so it's kind of I wouldn't describe it as dune grass, but it's just it's sort of loose vegetation. It's not, it's nothing crazy. I don't think it's full on lawn. We can flip through those photos and see if I've got one that shows that.
Let's see. It's pretty much lawn around here.
Pretty good lawn there.
I would say that, oh, I guess my question's, well, why don't you answer the vegetation question first?
Yeah, let's see if there's a better photo. I think it's sort of like worn lawn. I don't think it's anything. Don't think there, if I recall, there was no area of like dune grass. Yeah, you can see that's lawn in that area.
Yeah. Any chance we could get beach grass there?
You can't replace the lawn with new lawn.
No, obviously, I mean, I think what we would be looking at is what has happened in the past is if you drive equipment over lawn and you don't add any material, you just sort of rake it and throw down seed to repair scars. We're not looking at anything more than that. I think we could probably, what would be more effective on this site would be offer up, a couple native shrubs that we could place somewhere on site. We are doing some dune grass planting in that area where the at-grade pad and the granite step are coming out. But maybe if we, if we could have 2 shrubs at a location to be named later in coordination with Julia, a couple bayberry or maybe some beach plum, then I could coordinate with the applicant on where those could go. Because otherwise it'll just be kind of a funny little stranded area of dune grass surrounded by lawn.
Yeah.
The photo that's up now,
Yep.
all that patio and so forth, that's just going to remain just the way we see it?
Yeah. It's a fairly low first floor on the house, so they do use that. So that's remaining.
You don't think they're gonna want to replace any of that?
There was nothing that I was made aware of. It would not surprise me if they want to replace surface boards on it.
So that should, I mean, I just want to make, because this house, as you can, they're doing substantial amount of work to it. And you mentioned in the RDA other renovations, but you don't specify what those other renovations are. I don't know if they're interior
I think
or exterior.
Yeah, I mean,
windows,
it's
whatever.
fairly minimal. I think the zoning record has more information on any interior stuff, but the chimneys coming out, and obviously they're gonna have to rearrange how that extra space kind of fits into the second floor. But this isn't like, as far as my understanding and looking at those architectural renderings, this is not like wholesale, full on rehab of the place. It's but it is, it's general renovations that are not really in the jurisdictional area, but I think that the decks, if they don't have to change structure, the decks, according to the ordinance, as long as they don't expand them, they are allowed to be, actually, they can actually be replaced in kind in the language that's in the ordinance, as long as they're not expanded. But I don't think there were any plans to do anything, but I am looking at those surface boards in that photo. And I think it wouldn't surprise me if they wanted to swap out deck boards on that.
There could be a
What's
special
the
condition.
what type of foundation is under or supporting that shed addition that's going to be built on?
I don't have that information. It's a solid foundation for the building. And there's no work proposed on the foundation for that. All the work is going up. So I know Eileen would have looked at making sure that can hold it. There's no work on the ground there.
Okay,
I did not crawl under there. I can Google the assessor's card real quickly if you want to give me a second and take a look and see if that's got more information on that.
There was no proposal to, this isn't the one with the proposal to install helical piles under there.
No. No, that's
Yeah.
the hearing
the
at the
one.
end.
Yeah, so you're just gonna, you build right on top of there.
Yeah, that's my understanding. That's what the architectural plans show and what that site plan shows.
But is there something underneath the house, or it's just built right on top of the ground?
I mean, it has a foundation. I'm looking to see right now if the assessor's card is any help. Hold on just 1 second. So the main house has a basement. And that area is labeled FEP.
EP.
Which is porch enclosed.
So it's sitting right on the ground, likely.
So it must have some kind of foundation.
Well, at this point, they're not proposing any alterations, so if they were gonna do anything, they'd have to notify us.
Right. Yeah, I can confirm that information with Eileen, and again, if the commission, I think I'm the only other thing on the agenda tonight, so if you just be patient with me a second, let me text Eileen and see if she can maybe fill me in on that.
Another thing, Tom, I mean, just because you mentioned additional renovations, but those weren't specified. So
Right.
that could be, I mean,
Generally when I say that, it is things like siding and interior.
yeah, but so I guess what I'm getting at is do we, it would be great to have the substantial improvement form filled out for this.
Okay.
Just so we can confirm, because what I don't want to have happen is we get a building permit come in that shows a much more extensive amount of work, that then we have to look at whether or not it was a substantial improvement and go back again. And, I'd rather just do it as part of this process.
Right. Is that something you'd be willing to do as sort of a -3 with a condition? That be submitted prior to the start of work?
It's reasonable if it's okay with the commission. I think it's a
Okay.
reasonable.
My understanding of the project is it wouldn't come close to approaching that, but
Yeah, I would think that it wouldn't, but just given that it's a total unknown to
Right,
us. Because
understood.
You know what I mean?
no, understood. That makes sense. The assessor's card otherwise is not overly helpful.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, what do people think about that?
It does have a building value of 360 something on the assessor's card. So I mean, there's plenty of budget to work with for a smaller addition like that. Using that, and then obviously there's the other appraisal option too, but I don't think we'd even go near that.
Yeah, I guess I'm okay with, as long as we get something.
Yeah, they do say in the note about that addition, they say second floor offset from existing, partially cantilevered, so I'm not sure. It might be a little more complicated than just bearing down if they're trying to use the cantilevering off of what's there. But they still don't say anything about a foundation, so.
Yeah, I'm not getting anything back from Eileen, so I think, I mean, as shown on the site plan and as shown on the architectural plan, there's no work proposed on that area underneath. So I think if anything changes with that, we'll just have to come back to you.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you're not working at, nothing's happening outside this existing footprint. But given that it's the AO zone, we should get the substantial improvement form just to confirm, and that
Right.
would include, making sure that there's no new footings or, support is required for the addition, et cetera.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with what is it, the negative determination, 3 negative determination with the requirement to get that form in before anything happens. I don't know if anybody else has any heartburn with that.
No, I just want to go back to the shrubs.
Hmm.
Maybe if we could have 3 and they were planted in a clump instead of, one here and one 20 feet away and another 20 feet away, so that you
Right,
have
so
something.
if you do a -3, you could condition 3 shrubs to be 3 native, dune appropriate shrubs or something along those lines to be,
In a single planting area or
yeah, to be planted, in a location to be approved by the conservation administrator.
Okay,
I would
And
also,
your
yeah.
points noted. My recommendation would probably be bayberry or beach plum, but
okay. Or
like,
2 of one and 1 of the other,
yeah,
whichever way.
yeah.
I think
But I
it might-
wouldn't mix the 2 in the same clump. That's the only thing.
Okay,
Because the bayberry will take over the beach plum typically.
You gonna say something, Julie?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, maybe you might want to consider another special condition. We don't want to get too many of these here because it's an RDA, but that there may be no expansion of the footprint of the at-grade decks. Just because, when they're going to be doing this renovation work, I can see those getting damaged, wanting to replace them, etc. Make it all.
Mhm.
just unfair.
It doesn't hurt to make it explicit. Again, the site plan does not show any change in that, and that is documented, so.
Yeah,
okay.
conditions fine with me. Are we all set? You want to make a motion?
Make a motion for a -3 determination with the 3 requirements that we mentioned.
Which is
I'll
the
second
substantial-
that.
Were you gonna repeat them, Julie?
Yeah, I was just gonna repeat them. So the 3 are that we get the substantial improvement form before issuance of the determination. We get 3 new native shrubs to be planted in location to be approved by the conservation administrator, and there may be no expansion of the at-grade, of the footprint of the at-grade decks or additions I think we should also say additions to the existing fencing or replacement of fencing without additional review and approval by the commission.
And Mr. Chairman, before you take the vote, the answer on the foundation, I just got back from Eileen. So it is some concrete and some monotones, she said. I think she means sonotubes is my guess. But it will support the addition. Sonotubes, yes, she just corrected herself. So thanks for your patience on that.
Okay. All right then, roll call. Steve Moore,
Yes,
David Vine,
Yes,
Carol Wagon,
Yes,
Dan Warshall,
Yes,
and I vote yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, can I get a motion to open the public hearings?
so moved.
second,
Roll call, Steve Moore,
yes,
David Vine,
yes,
Carol Wagon,
Yes,
Dan Warshall,
yes,
and I vote yes. First item is City of Newburyport 388 High Street, notice of intent. They have requested a continuance to our December 19th meeting. Would we like to do that? And would we like to make a motion to continue to the December 19th meeting?
I move that we
Move to,
continue this,
Oh, go ahead.
doesn't matter. I move that we continue this matter until December, what did we say, 19th?
Second,
All right, roll call, Steve Moore,
yes.
David Vine,
Yes,
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Dan Warshaw,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, last but definitely not least, Peter Newton, 6 Julia Street, notice of intent.
Right.
Great. Good evening, Tom Hughes with Hughes Environmental Consulting here on behalf of Peter Newton. So 6 Julia Street is one where they are reconstructing an addition and adding deck. The property that you see here, the rectangle you see on the cover is actually where the house is. It's a double lot. And when we get to the site plan, I'll show you where the whole thing is. But if we can look at the flood map, you'll see that this is all in X zone where the building is. And then if you see where the garage is, which is just partially in the edge of the flood there, that is the other lot. So that extends out with a driveway, et cetera. If we can go to the aerial image. Okay, so here you kind of get the sort of full view of the structure. The garage is in the upper right, and the structure is right there with the shed and back. Right there, exactly. So you have, pavement there, you've got a garage, you've got driveway, that is in the X zone. If we can go to the next, I just have some sort of general photos. Similar to the last one, there's sort of remnant lawn, although the dune is winning the battle here. It's very challenging to keep a lawn up in a dune system. They just they want more water than nature gives them. So anyway, so what we're looking at, if we can go, we can probably skip by all these. I think you have a sense of what the site is like. We can go right to the site plan. Okay, so on this one, because we needed to do foundation work if we were going to keep the addition that was there, we are actually demolishing it and rebuilding on helical piles. And then building that expanded deck area, again, supported on helical piles. We have areas where we're removing some hardscape, including some pavement. We're planting, we're moving concrete up on that other lot. And so we actually notified abutters for both lots. It's really combined for zoning purposes anyway, mainly because we're removing that little area of concrete. So we are removing some pavement down there next to the house, kind of skinnying that area up and planting there. So we are, I think the dune is definitely gaining function with this project as we go forward with this addition and with the deck work. I think the next sheet has the profile view, or bottom. Is that in the bottom right here? Maybe on that sheet.
Yeah, okay, maybe, right, oh, sorry. Let me
Yeah,
just.
Everett always puts that profile on there somewhere. Yeah, it's so you kind of have to zoom in to really see it, but everything's elevated up the 2 feet for sand movement. And helical piles. So we've got our elevation. We've got the demo and rebuild. Everything's supported on piles. We're outside the floodplain with the entire structure. So we can go through the architecturals to kind of get a better sense of kind of what it looks like. But it's a relatively straightforward project, and it does comply. So you can see there's your existing. And if you see kind of the roof line and everything on that addition area with the deck at the bottom, and then we can kind of go down. Okay, so there's the deck area on the bottom with existing. And that's all so far all existing. Okay, so now we start getting into proposed. And you can kind of see it's a double level deck now, and it's open on the underneath. There's, you know, if you noticed on the existing, there's lattice. On the proposed, there's not. Everything's elevated. The existing home is still solid foundation. There still will be some pavement on the lot. There'll still be some kind of that lawn struggling to survive, but there will be some areas that kind of stuff gets removed and mitigated. And we have a net increase of 108 square feet, I think it is, of vegetation on site. But I think even more importantly, we're getting rid of some areas of concrete and pavement. So it's not just a improvement in dune function from the vegetation change, but it's also from removal of hard structures and getting rid of the lattice under the existing deck.
The green sort of long oval shape you pointed out before, what did you say is there now?
Oh, on the site plan, if we can go back to that, there's an
sorry.
area of pavement.
So,
So if
This
you
is the
see that,
driveway.
part of what's coming out is the lawn next to the pavement. And we just kind of gave it the oval shape because it would have looked really funny if we just kind of saw cut the
so
pavement.
that's already there. That's the lawn that's already there.
If you
This is
can,
pavement.
yeah, if you see like the area that's to the left of that line that cuts through it, the below, it's almost like Julia, can you follow the edge
Right.
of the driveway?
Yep, right here.
Yeah, so that's the edge of the driveway. Everything to the
Oh.
left of that line and then below that line is pavement.
Oh, I see.
Everything
Small
that's in
driveway.
the area to the right inside that sort of peanut shape is that is all lawn. We're just taking out lawn and putting in dune grass, but the idea is to at least have it look like somebody was landscaping it as opposed to just saw cutting out the pavement for the numbers and leaving the lawn.
So
Thank you.
Tom, to the right of the peanut,
Yep.
that's lawn.
Yeah, it's kind of struggling lawn. I think there was some decent photos that showed that area. I think that might be the top one, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here's the pavement, right.
Right. So there's
So-
the pavement. You can see there's lawn, but it's
Struggling.
yeah.
Sad looking lawn.
Yeah. And well, you know, and lawns like this, they will green up a bit in the summer, but they sure die off fast at the end of the season. You know,
Tom,
my
why-
hope is we do this, we get this planted and they begin to enjoy having some dune grass around and notice that it's a lot less maintenance than lawn. And maybe, maybe they come in and ask Julia if they can expand the planting areas. But we certainly meet the ordinance and the Wetland Protection Act in terms of the need to mitigate for the project and the no adverse effect to dune function. We're certainly improving dune function.
Tom, so if part of this pavement back here is coming out, right,
Yeah.
to be planted, it seems as though that doesn't leave them with a parking space, or so what would be the point of leaving any of this
It's
pavement?
still a stable footpath. If we look at you look at the site plan, it kind of gets you. It gets
Yeah.
you to that bulkhead, and I think they like the idea of having a solid, stable surface to bring things in and out of the basement, and it still meets a function for them, and its removal isn't needed to meet the performance standards. So,
But they still have parking
yeah, they have enough parking
next to Julia Street.
Right. They have the parking next to Julia Street, and they also have the parking with the garage.
We're here off
Yeah.
of Old Point.
That's
yeah.
more of a pea stone gravel and kind of, we call it a grass driveway. It's just sort of looser, sandier gravel that the veg comes into.
So Tom, I see there's a concrete walkway and then a wooden walkway there near the garage that seem to go nowhere.
Yeah, they bring them to this property.
Okay, but once,
The concrete is an apron, and then there's the concrete walk that runs along the side of it, and then the
Yeah.
wood walk, and it brings you to the edge of that fence. There's a chain link fence, and it brings you to the edge that brings you into this property.
so is there a gate in the chain link fence, or,
I think it's the end of the fence. I think the fence just ends,
yeah.
so that's why it's at that weird angle.
Does look like the fence just ends right.
okay, but then there's no walkway of any sort over towards the house?
Yeah, then it's just that rough sandy lawn. It's just trampled, walk area.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
I
not
was
saying
thinking-
the layout of this was done by a landscape architect. It's sort of funky Plum Island that has evolved over the years through the use and creativity of its owner.
okay. So on that rectangle where next, near the garage, we were planting beach grass.
Yes.
What is the surrounding vegetation like there? Is there,
I didn't spend a lot of time looking at that. Maybe the photos might be helpful.
The aerial.
There's one that shows the garage.
Yeah.
okay,
Looks like, is this where we're looking at? I don't see.
Yeah.
concrete
Yeah,
yet.
that's
Maybe-
kind of that sand area, but there's another one that shows that garage area better.
This one.
yeah,
It looks sandy.
Yeah, it's just kind of a shrubby area. Originally, I didn't think anything was happening on that lot, so I didn't really spend a lot of mental energy on it. And then we came up with the concrete removal.
What's is that garage, they store cars and so forth in that? I mean, it's just.
Yeah, I mean, it's a functional garage. It's got garage doors, and it's just not used heavily for ongoing, I mean, the current owners don't seem to park in there and back in and out all the time, right? So that's why that kind of gravel drive is got some wispy green vegetation coming into it, but it is a fully functional and used garage.
But not living space or anything of that sort.
No, and they're not really looking to do anything there. This is, they've got their hands full on the
Looks
project
like
they've got in front of them.
It looks like your applicant, Peter Newton, has his hand up, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
promote him to a panelist. Okay, so Peter, you'll be able to unmute yourself in a minute.
yes, well, we're waiting for him. So looking at that little triangle of sand, part of which is, we're gonna revegetate. Or is it possible that we could just fill all of that with some beach grass?
The triangle of sand that you see in the image there.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that was shown as vegetated on our site plan.
sparsely, yeah.
Yeah, no, sparsely. It was, I mean, Peter's about to join us. I think we could probably supplement vegetation in that area. The
Yeah, that little
Problem-
triangle there.
right. The problem is that when I go and look to call an area vegetated or unvegetated for purposes of filing with you guys, I can't in good conscience call an area that meets the 1 foot on center spacing that I'm proposing to plant, call it unvegetated, even though it may be sparse. So it has enough vegetation to be considered vegetated, but
Yeah.
If Peter's okay with adding some dune grass into it, we certainly can talk about that.
Okay,
Yes, absolutely. Hello, I'm Peter Newton. Just to interject here, and thank you very much for the consideration. I just wanted to go back to the garage question for a second. So we do use it, or we're very new homeowners here, about 5 months, but we are using that for storage. And it's part of the reason too that as part of our mitigation here that we'll demo the shed, which is a pretty good sized shed, actually. And so that will just go away. And I want to make sure that was clear. Yeah, Julia's highlighting it right now.
What's going to go where the shed is now?
That will be partly the extended deck, and then part of it will just be new open space that we'll plant in. I believe
If you
that's part of Tom's plan.
Yeah, if you look at the site plan, you can kind of see that things extend into that, and then we have a clamshell walkway, and then we plant the rest of the area.
Oh, right, here's the outline of the
Yeah.
shed.
Yeah, and I was focused more on the fact that we're removing concrete and pavement, but we're also removing the shed, as Peter noted. I mean, we're taking out a lot of things that, and there's a little concrete block wall coming out too. We're taking out a bunch of little things that have kind of grown through the, as that's sort of the artistry of former owners and their landscape prowess, that we all know inhibit the dune function, and we're really improving dune function with the project just by removing those and planting them.
Okay. But Peter, are you okay with throwing some beach grass in that triangular area?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We see doing more of that. One of you, I think, might have mentioned this, or maybe Tom did earlier, but yes, absolutely. We see adding more dune grass over time. Yeah, we love
Okay.
that.
Actually, if you wanted to put some native shrubbery in there in place of dune grass, that would be fine too.
Yeah, I can work with these guys to give them a list of, of good plants to consider, and I'm sure once they get the project underway, they can spend some time looking how they can improve the landscape, and I can give them some ideas on how they can do that and improve dune function. I think in terms of what's in front of you for a project plan, clearly from a performance standard, we meet it. We'll add in the that triangle of planting. Unfortunately, I don't believe we have a DEP number. I've been emailing Jim Freely today, trying to see what's going on and see if he can get me something. But Julia, you haven't seen anything, have you?
No, I checked today also and I didn't see anything, so yeah, it's too bad.
So we can add that note, and the thing that I can talk to Peter about offline is whether, we could think of doing something with that walkway from the garage, that kind of funky wood walkway. I think the concrete may be a little bit much, and it may also be sometimes that apron concrete that's near these garages is kind of integral to the foundation of the garage. So I don't want to say that we want to pull that up, but maybe we could get rid of the walkway and do like a clamshell path that might be a little more pleasant to the eye. But offline, we can talk about a couple things like that between now and that next meeting.
Okay.
And Peter, just to explain, since we don't have a file number from the state, and it's probably has to do with holidays and this time of year, but these guys can't actually close the hearing till we get that file number. So we'll mark up the plan. In the meantime, Julia, is it possible you could have an order sort of ready to go at the next meeting?
Yep, I've already sort of started drafting it, so we would be able to issue it right away after the next meeting, if that's when the commission votes to close. So I wouldn't worry about that in terms of timing. That would be December 5th, I believe, is our next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it sounds like you'll be the only one on the agenda.
Yeah. So hopefully by then we just need that DEP file number.
Okay, so are there any other issues the commission wants to, or questions the commission has, so we can make sure that is just very quick in and out on that meeting in December?
I'm all set.
Yeah, I don't have anything. Anybody have anything?
No.
No, sounds good.
Okay. Any comments from the public?
Look like any.
Not seeing any. All right, so we're gonna continue this to the December 5th meeting.
Yep.
Get a motion?
Motion to continue to December 5th?
Second. All right, roll call. Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes,
Carol Wagon,
Yes,
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
All right.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
All right, do we have anything else?
Just wanted to mention one thing that we talked about at our last meeting, which is with regard to the, or do we want to close the public hearings first?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
All right.
Motion to close the public hearings.
Second.
All right, roll call. Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes,
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Yes, Julie.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna switch, hold on a sec. I'm gonna do a new share with some photos of the, can you guys all see this picture?
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so this is the last meeting, we talked about the National Grid site down adjacent to the rail trail along
Mhm.
the Merrimack, and there's still, as you can see, this sort of area that's just will not grow in, and they proposed numerous times to supplement this area with plantings. The last report we got from them was October of 2022, and they gave us a plan which was to plant in the spring, which they did. And unfortunately, can you all see this photo?
Yeah.
The next one. So most of it didn't survive. Like there's a lot of dead plants in here. There's one shrub back here, a couple of shrubs here and there look like they're hanging on, and some grasses here and there. But for the most part, you can see, I think either with all of the rain, the seeding got washed out, or it's hard to know what's happening here, but it certainly isn't looking very good. And as David pointed out, you know, it's time for them to come in and give us another report, because it's been a year and this hasn't, whatever they proposed before hasn't worked. In my email to them, I suggested that in addition to getting us this report that they owe us each fall, and we just extended their order conditions for more time so they can finish this area. But what if, like, just, you know, I don't know how many years it's been. It's been years where nothing will grow here. Would it be amenable to you all? Would you prefer to see, or maybe in addition to them continuing to try to get things growing here, like a row of shrubs along the edge of this area, just so it screens it and provides some habitat value in this area where it's just really grass and sort of weeds, but this soil seems to be fertile and will, you know, support growth. If they put some shrubs in here, it would just screen it as well as provide some habitat.
but what happens to the area where nothing will grow?
I mean, I don't know. It's sort of, I just feel like I don't know how much longer we can continue to try to get things to grow in there. For whatever reason, nothing has ever survived. It could just be the way the water comes through there. Maybe it comes at sort of significant speed and washes everything out. Maybe it ponds in there. I don't even know. We should have them give us sort of an explanation of what they think what is happening. But year after year, we seem to not be able to.
I guess I don't know what they've tried to plant there. But maybe it's saltier than we think it is. I don't know how often the water comes up in there, if it ever does.
Well, I've seen water ponded over there. There is standing water there frequently.
Is it after it rains or a real high tide?
I think it's after it rains, but I really haven't equated it. I've just seen a lot of water, and in fact, where your arrow is, it seems like that is, you'll see like a little pond there extending after the rain, after everything else. It's just standing water.
Yeah.
Well, it might be worth taking a walk down there tomorrow afternoon when it stops raining, or
Hmm.
But isn't there
Yeah.
a big tree right to the left of that area where nothing grows? If I'm thinking of this is the right,
Like
isn't
over
there,
here,
yeah, isn't there a big,
like sort of off the page here. There
Yeah.
may be, I'm sorry, I don't have a photo that shows that
that's
space,
okay,
but
that's okay. Because it just doesn't make
um,
sense that it would grow there, but not there. That's
I
weird.
know. Well, if you remember, this triangular area was supposed to be planted originally, but it's actually underneath here is all filled in with crushed stone. And that's sort of why we're in the situation with them to begin with, because what happened after they fixed the seawall, they were supposed to plant this area, and instead they filled it in with crushed stone as a drainage depression because that's where water was going. And so they kind of made it like a little bit of a drainage basin, but it was just crushed stone. It looked horrible. It wasn't what the commission permitted, and it was supposed to be vegetated. So we negotiated back and forth with them on how they could remedy that situation. And they originally said, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll fill in with some loam and some mulch and stuff, and we'll plant in certain areas. So it'll be sort of like a mixture of plants and crushed stone, so it would serve multiple functions. And they assured us that the plants would come up through the crushed stone, etc. It never worked. So then they put more soils down and planted again, and then they seeded and then planted again. And then we had the crazy drought summer, which was right after they did one round of planting. Everything died in the drought. Then it was last spring, 2022, they planted again, and I believe they added more loam, planted again, and again, now we're here in the situation where nothing grew. So I don't know whether it's the fact of what we started with, which was sort of this area that was just strictly crushed stone, and we're trying to plant things on top of it that aren't appropriate, or whether it's something to do with the way it drains. It's just,
well, in the meantime, they put in that crushed stone waterway, which I don't think we ever approved. Did
Oh,
we?
that was their idea.
That was their idea, but I don't, anyway.
but so this area where there's grass growing, this is okay, which is why I was wondering if we should just have them plant some heavy shrub layer right there, because that would probably work.
Does Jordy have an opinion on this? I mean, it's
Jordy sort of Jordy agrees. But they gave us a report saying that they were working on it, and we were all sort of going on the assumption that maybe they would come up with a solution. I haven't talked with Jordy about the idea of having them plant sort of a shrub buffer along the rail trail here, but I don't know how he'd feel about that, but I can certainly ask him. It's just an idea.
Yeah, I mean, all the time and everything that Jordy's put into all of this, if whatever
Yeah.
he feels, it's okay with me.
Yeah, I wouldn't object to native shrubbery, maybe even a tree
Right.
along there to hide it, but
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah, but of course, if you're hiding that, you're hiding the view to the river too, but who wants to look over that thing at the river?
yeah.
I know,
The
it's just
nasty
an
little spot.
eyesore. I think at this point, it's serving some sort of detention, stormwater function. And it may be that that's what's preventing anything from growing properly in there. So at least what we can do is screen it, because it is right adjacent to the rail trail, and provide some habitat values.
Yeah, that would be fine with me.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that, but I think more thicker than they
Mhm.
might plan.
Mhm. Right.
Something that's going to look like something in a relatively short time as opposed to 10 years.
Yeah, I would think that
Ah.
we would, if they were gonna do something like that, we would ask them to give us a planting plan to take a
Okay.
look at.
And, you know,
Report on where we stand and where they're headed. I'd like them to come back and, I mean, if they have a problem with the area because it's too salty or whatever it is, come out, say it, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've asked them to give us that report, to
Okay.
give us this sort of fall report on the whole situation and what their assessment is. I just haven't gotten it yet, and then I sent her, sort of my conceptual idea of just adding the shrubs, a buffer area just to screen it in the
yeah, but-
meantime.
and, you know, get Jody's opinion too. 'cause-
Yeah, will
Yeah.
do. Yep.
All right. Do we have anything else
That's it for that.
other than a final motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Second,
Roll call, Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
yes.
and Warshall,
Yes.
and I vote yes. See
Thanks.
you on the 5th.
Have a
Yeah,
good holiday,
thanks.
everybody.
You
Yeah.
too.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Okay. You
Can I
too.
ask